Hello, my name is Edward Guetta, or Mr. Guetta. I teach U.S. History, AP, and dual credit here at Brennan High School. And today I'm just here to talk about the differences between dual credit and AP and what the course looks like. So first off, I'm going to talk about dual credit. And so with dual credit, the students are enrolled at Northwest Vista and Brennan High School at the same time. Uh, this is how much you can save with dual credit per course. I went through and looked at the different costs by university, and here's for 3 credit hours at each of the university. In U.S. History, the class that I'm teaching and promoting, you get 2 courses, right? It takes care of your History 1301 in the first semester, and then in the second semester, it's History 1302. They're 2 separate grades, and they're through the college eyes, they're 2 separate grades. There's a grade for the first semester in the fall, and then a grade for the second semester in the spring. And most universities and colleges in the state of Texas will take dual credit, the dual credit that's earned through Northwest Vista at Brennan High School. Now, I tell my students every year to go and look at their top 5 universities and make sure that the dual credit is going to transfer there. But here's some of the benefits of dual credit for students. Students that take dual credit increase their likelihood of completing high school and enrolling in college immediately after finishing high school. It decreases the cost of tuition and fees for students in completing their academic degrees. They can finish faster, and also just the cost of the course, even if they don't finish fast at a faster pace, at least they won't have to cover those tuitions and fees for the courses completed. New graduates enter the workforce at an accelerated rate and begin to earn wages. You can earn up to 24 hours of college credit before graduating from high school. That's the equivalent of about 1 year to 75% of a year to a full year of college credit. Um, and lastly, it increases the student self-confidence. I mean, they're taking a college course, they've proven it to themselves that they can do it, and now they can take that confidence to the next level into their college careers. Through dual credit, you'll have access to the Northwest Vista campus. You'll have access to their writing labs, to their math labs, their library, etc. And you don't have to pay the tuition and fees that go into it. All right, Northwest Vista is kind enough to let us use their resources still without having to pay that tuition. The second part of this is AP. So I teach the way the class is set up. It's half AP, half dual credit. So that means that the main focus of the class is still through the AP curriculum. So right here on the right, I linked a QR code for the CED for U.S. History AP, and you can go and look at and see exactly what's going on, what's going to be taught in the class. I follow that verbatim, and we get through all of that throughout the year, 1491 to present. And so the AP exam, what the AP exam does is the AP exam is going to assess the way that students know the course concepts and skills outlined in the CED here. And so the scoring rubric contain, and I have a breakdown of the exam, but it goes over not just multiple choice, but writing as well. And I think that's the one thing that shocks students the most is how much writing is involved in AP / dual credit U.S. history. And writing is not something to be afraid of, right? It's very important to know how to write as we go into, as our students are pushing into this next level at the college level. They need to know how to write. And so the AP exam, the way it's broken down is that 40% of the score comes from multiple choice, 20% comes from the short answer questions, uh, 25% comes from the DBQ or the document based question, and 15% comes from the LEQ or the long essay question. So, what does this all mean? 40% of the exam is multiple choice, 60% is writing. So, we do a lot of writing in my class. I go over everything. I go over what a short answer is, how to write it. I go over what a DBQ is, how to write it. I go over an LEQ, what it is, how to write it. Right? There is scaffolding there for my students. It's not just okay. Let's see how you can do. It's more of a build up process, right? But know that there is a lot of writing in my class. And so let's talk about U.S. history, the actual class. Um, and so the course description here, it's an advanced placement course. It's the equivalent of a 2-semester survey course in college, right? 2 semesters, which means it's 2 separate courses in college. Which means if you pass the AP exam with a 3 or higher, right, and you're even though you're not in dual credit and you pass the AP exam, you'll possibly be able to receive college credit, right? If you're able to get a 3 or higher. And so it's designed to prepare students for the College Board examination, the AP exam. And so that's what I do. That's the objective of the course, is to have my students ready to take the AP exam. And so that's how the course is designed. That's the objective of it. And the course will be taught primarily through a traditional lecture discussion model, which means, sometimes I'll lecture, sometimes you'll have group assignments, sometimes we'll discuss it. It's not just one thing all the time. It's always changing. And so it is rigorous, right? It's not an easy class. It's fast paced. There's lots of reading and there's lots of writing. There's lots of reading and there's lots of writing, right? And so I really am proud of my students at the end of the year that they're able to go through this course, they're able to make it, and they're able to come out with skills that are going to help them at the next level, right? It's all about getting you ready for college and life after Brennan High School. And so here's the outlook of the course. It's, like I said, this is a fast-paced course. Period 1 starts off in 1491, which is pre-Columbia, or pre-Columbus, pre-Columbian exchange. And we'll go through that. Now we get into period 2, and that's the colonial era, and we see the British starting to move into America, and we see the British colonies start to form, the 13 original. And then we move into period 3, and we get to the American Revolution and American independence and the Constitution and the development of a nation. And then we get into period 4, and in period 4, we get into the early antebellum period, or the early 1800s, and we're starting to see the U.S. expand. And as the U.S. expands, you have this growing sectional tension because of this one issue, and that one issue is slavery. And so as that starts to happen and grow, we see this counter movement to that in abolitionism and the want to get rid of slavery. And we see other progressive groups coming up during this time period as well, including a women's rights movement. And then we move into period 5, and this is the Civil War. So we continue on this westward expansion path. We see the increased immigration. We see the growing tensions again over slavery. And then finally, we end with the Civil War, and we get into Reconstruction. So periods 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all covered by December, right? from 1491 to 1877 is all done before we leave for winter break. When we get back from winter break in January, we pick up period 6, and period 6 is the Gilded Age, right? And the Gilded Age covers these big businessmen like Carnegie, the good and the bad of Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, the robber barons, and the captains of industry. It also goes over migration and the starting racial tensions that are happening, as well as segregation that comes up. In period 7, we hit progressivism, and progressivism tries to solve the problems that were created by the Gilded Age at the beginning. And then it gets into the World Wars and the Great Depression and how the American society is beginning to shape and form in this new century. Period 8, we get into the Cold War, we get into the Civil Rights Movement, Vietnam, the Great Society that Lyndon Johnson envisions and is trying to build, and how that's going to kind of collapse on itself. And then we move finally into period 9, which is the contemporary period, and we have the end of the Cold War, the war on terror, and also technological developments and environmental issues that are beginning to develop. And those are all covered. 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all covered before the first week of, we finish in April, and around early April, the first week of April. And that gives us a whole month to prepare for the AP exam before the students actually take it. And so, again, this course is definitely not easy, but it's going to help you get ready for the next level. It's going to help to get you ready for college. It's going to help you see where you need to improve, right, to help you be better at the end of the day. And that's my goal, right? As a teacher, that is my goal, to make sure that you're better off than when you started the course, right? And so again, I would highly encourage you to go look at this, look at the CED, look at the thing, look at how fast paced it is, right? Make sure it's something you want to do. Again, writing based, right? This is a lot of writing, and you can do it. I know you can do it. I know all my students are going to be able to do it. Um, but just know that going into the class. And again, dual credit. If you have any questions about dual credit, please let me know. My email is my name, edward.getta at nisd.net. Actually, I could write it in. I'll write it in at the bottom here. It's and again, if you have any questions about the process or signing up for it, let me know. I'm trying to get more information in this ever-changing school year. We haven't gotten the exact details on what we need to do, on what students need to do yet. But if you have any questions about either dual credit or AP, let me know. Here's my email, edward.getta at nisd.net. Please do not be afraid to reach out. And thank you for listening.